Yesterday on this channel, I told you something. I told you that $3 billion in XRP short positions were sitting directly above the current price. I told you that open interest was at a 2-week high. I told you that funding rates were deeply negative. I told you that the last time this exact setup existed, XRP gained 82%. And I told you that April 8th, today, was the catalyst date that could light the fuse. Today, XRP is up 6%. The price has moved from $1.29 to $1.38. Trading volume has surged to $2.04 billion. That is significantly above average, and it is moving in exactly the direction that the short squeeze data was pointing. The question every XRP holder is asking right now is simple. Is this the beginning of the recovery, or is this a fake out before another leg down? I am going to answer that question today, with the specific data that tells you which scenario is more likely, and I'm going to give you the 3 price levels that will determine whether today's move becomes a 30% rally or fades back to $1.25. Stay with me. This is the most important price action update this channel has published. Step 1. What actually happened today and why it matters so much? Let me start by showing you exactly what changed between yesterday and today, because the specific mechanics of today's move tell you a great deal about what is driving it and whether it can continue. XRP opened today near $1.29. It has since moved to approximately $1.38, a move of 9 cents, or approximately 6.9%. But here's the data point that separates a real move from a fake pump. Volume. $2.04 billion in trading volume in 24 hours. That number is significantly above XRP's recent daily average. When price moves up on elevated volume, it means real buyers are entering the market. Real money is moving in. It is not just short sellers being squeezed on thin volume. Genuine demand is participating in this move. The Binance scarcity indicator has climbed. The depth of the order book on the sell side has not recovered despite the price move. What this means is that as XRP rises, sellers are not replenishing the supply available at higher prices. The ask side of the order book remains thin. In markets, when price rises on thin sell-side order books, the move tends to accelerate rather than fade. And critically, the short squeeze mechanism is still active. Open interest has not fully reset. The $3 billion in liquidation clusters above the current price did not evaporate overnight. As of this morning, significant short positions still remain above the $1.40 level. As XRP rises toward those clusters, the forced liquidations continue, which drives the price higher, which liquidates more shorts. The cascade has started. It has not finished. Step 2. The 3 price levels that determine everything from here. Let me give you the specific technical levels that every XRP holder watching this video needs to have memorized. Level 1, $1.40. This is the first major resistance level above today's price. The 200-week exponential moving average sits approximately here. This was the long-term support level that XRP broke below in late March. When support breaks, but it often becomes resistance. XRP needs to break above $1.40 with conviction and sustained volume to confirm that today's move is a real trend reversal and not a temporary bounce. What happens at $1.40 determines the next 30 days. If XRP closes above it on strong volume for 2 consecutive days, the technical picture shifts from bearish to neutral to bullish. If it gets rejected at $1.40, the bounce was a short squeeze that faded back into the downtrend. Watch $1.40. It is the line, level 2. $1.50, above $1.40. The next major resistance is $1.50. This level marks the zone where XRP traded for much of March 2026. 60% of XRP holders are underwater at cost basis between $1.30 and $1.60. As XRP rises through this zone, holders who bought between these prices will sell to break even. That selling creates resistance that must be absorbed. If volume is large enough, If the short squeeze cascade is powerful enough, that overhead selling gets absorbed and XRP moves through $1.50 toward $1.60 and above. If volume fades, the overhead supply wins and XRP retreats. Level 3, $1.60. If XRP reaches $1.60, the analytical consensus shifts dramatically. Analysts who project Clarity Act, passage pushing XRP above $1.60 would have their catalyst confirmed. The $4 to $8 billion in projected new ETF inflows would begin to be priced in, and the short squeeze would have completed its first phase with the kind of gain that validates the entire setup. $1.60 is the level where today's bounce becomes a confirmed trend reversal. 3 levels: $1.40, $1.50, $1.60. Watch them in sequence. Step 3. What the Clarity Act has to do with today's price move. Here's something that most analysis of today's move is missing. Today is April 8th. The Senate Banking Committee has targeted its Clarity Act markup for late April. The Senate returned from recess on April 13th, 5 days from now. These from market participants who track Washington closely are beginning to position ahead of potential Clarity Act progress. When institutions expect a major positive catalyst within the next 2 to 3 weeks, they do not wait for it to happen before buying. They position ahead of it, and their buying becomes part of the price move that everyone else sees and interprets as a signal. Today's volume surge may not be entirely short squeeze mechanics. It may also include early positioning by institutional participants who see the Clarity Act timeline accelerating. If that is the case, today's move has a fundamental driver underneath the technical short squeeze, and fundamental drivers are more durable than pure technical squeezes. The combination of short squeeze mechanics and early Clarity Act positioning is a more powerful combination than either factor alone. If both are contributing to today's move, the 3 price levels I just described are achievable within days rather than weeks. Step 4. The 2 things that could kill this rally before it reaches $1.60. I want to be honest with you about the risks because they are real. Risk 1. Bitcoin fails to hold above $66,000. XRP's short squeeze is a powerful mechanism, but it cannot override a broad market crash led by Bitcoin. If Bitcoin breaks below $66,000 and accelerates toward $63,000, XRP falls with it regardless of how many short sellers are being squeezed. The macro tide overrides the specific XRP technical setup. Watch Bitcoin carefully over the next 48 hours. If it holds above 66,000, the XRP rally has room to continue. If it breaks below 66,000 with conviction, expect XRP to give back a portion of today's gains regardless of the short squeeze dynamics. Risk 2. Volume fades without a close above $1.40. Today's volume is elevated, but markets test new highs by checking whether volume supports the move. If tomorrow's volume drops significantly below today's $2 billion, it signals that the buyers who came in today were short sellers covering, rather than new long buyers entering. Short sellers covering is a one-time event. New long buyers are a sustained trend. Watch volume on April 9th and April 10th. If it stays above $1.5 billion while XRP holds above $1.35, the rally has legs. If volume drops back toward $1 billion or below, the bounce may be fading. Step 5. The historical pattern that makes today potentially historic. Let me show you what this specific price pattern has meant in XRP's history, because the combination of factors present today has happened before, and the outcomes were significant. In February 2026, XRP fell to $1.11 during the extreme fear bottom. Short sellers were at maximum dominance. Volume surged. Price bounced sharply. Within 3 weeks, XRP had recovered 38% from the bottom. In November 2024, before XRP's run from 50 cents to $3.65, a similar short squeeze setup appeared. Open interest was elevated. Funding rates were negative. Price was at multi-month lows. What followed was the single largest XRP rally in recent history. Today's setup shares structural similarities with both of those moments. The differences, the macro headwinds from tariffs in Iran, are real constraints, but they have not prevented today's move from beginning. History is a guide, not a guarantee, but the pattern of short squeezes leading to sustained recoveries in XRP has been consistent enough across multiple cycles to deserve respect. Step 6. What you should do right now with this information. Let me give you the direct practical guidance based on everything I have just shown you. If you are a long-term XRP holder, today's move changes nothing about your long-term thesis. The Clarity Act timeline is intact. Ripple's institutional infrastructure is intact. The supply compression is intact. What today's move does is confirm that the technical floor around $1.28 to $1.30 has held. And it gives you the 3 specific price levels that tell you whether recovery is beginning or whether you need patience for another test of support. If you are watching from the sidelines wondering whether to add to a position, do not chase today's 6% move. Wait for a confirmed close above $1.40 on volume, above 1.5 billion. That confirmation reduces the risk that you are buying a temporary bounce significantly. If you are a short seller who has been holding through today's move, your position is under increasing pressure. The short squeeze mechanism is working. The longer you hold a short position against a rising price with thin sell-side order books, the more expensive your eventual exit becomes. My honest conclusion: today is one of the most important days for XRP price action in the last 6 weeks. The short squeeze your channel predicted yesterday is triggering. The volume is real. The move is significant. And the Clarity Act timeline gives it a fundamental catalyst backdrop that makes this more than a pure technical event. Whether $1.40 holds, whether $1.50 and $1.60 follow, those answers come over the next 72 hours. Watch this channel, because when those levels are tested, I will be posting within hours of the result. Now, I want to hear from you. Is today's XRP move the beginning of the recovery you have been waiting for? Type yes if you think XRP is heading to $1.60 or higher this week. Type no if you think this is a fake out and XRP returns to $1.25 or lower. And type watching if you are waiting for the confirmation close above $1.40 before deciding anything. Drop your answer in the comments right now. This is the most important XRP price discussion of the month, and I want to know what every person watching this channel thinks is happening. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell right now. When XRP tests $1.40, I am posting immediately. When it tests $1.50, I am posting immediately. And when the Clarity Act Senate Banking Committee announcement happens next week, I am posting within hours. You cannot miss any of these moments. Subscribe now. Thank you for watching. I will see you at $1.40, and I will see you in the next one.